What's going on, everyone? Juicebags here, and welcome back to some Dungeon Defenders Awakened on the PS4. Today I'm going to kind of go through my Endless Spires farming build. This is what I personally have been using. Now I actually use a more lazy modified version of it, but this was the starter build that I went with. Now, this build to do the bonus waves is dependent on having Fusion Wisps. So with Fusion Wisps set up, you're going to be good to go. With anything else, if you have anything else on top of it, it's just going to make the run more smooth. Here are some suggested stats to start off doing this build for Lichen King bonus waves. Now, granted, if you have Lichen King bonus waves unlocked, you're probably way past the point of these stats. However, this is a good recommended starting point. Now, first things first, we're going to start off on our rogue, and I'm going to go with an ensnare aura and an electric aura right here just at the base of the stairs. Depending on how much range you have, you can place them anywhere in this area. However, you do want to make sure that you're overlapping as much of this particular area here as you can, just to give you a little bit of safety versus any spiders or anything that might drop on the ground. Then we're going to come over to this side, and we're going to do the exact same thing. Once again, depending on where your range is at will depend on your placement, because you can only go so close to this other aura. When I first started off, I was placing them right here in the center. Now we're going to switch over to some gas traps. Now, this one was my personal second addition for Fusion. Fusion gas traps are so awesome. If you don't have Fusion gas traps, this build will still work for you. However, Fusion gas traps make it just, so much sweeter. Now, we're going to go ahead and go with 2 gas traps here. The main thing here is that we're overlapping down onto the stairs. And then, additionally, we're going to get some gas traps in here for the flyers. So that's going to give us a little bit of crowd control versus those flyers. Now, remember, if they are not fused, then any poison immune flyers are going to be getting right through. So when you're first starting on farming this map, you're going to want to keep an eye out for the flyer lanes. Now we're going to go ahead and switch on over to our warden, and I'm going to go with a tree, or a root, pardon me, right out in the middle of this platform. Kind of an odd place to have it, I realize, but what that does is it completely eliminates the possibility of any Dark Elf warriors going out and smacking on your roots. Then right here, we're just going to go with 4 wisps. Now, this is the area that I personally don't build anymore because I don't need to. However, when you're first starting off, you will have problems with flyers on this map. So getting these 4 wisps out here will remedy that flyer situation. After we get those 4 wisps down, we're going to go ahead and throw a buff beam on it right here. And let's just get these bad boys all good and jacked up. Now, we do want to make sure that no ogres are throwing at these wisps from any of the top lanes. So with that in mind, we're just going to give a 1 DU reflect beam right here on each side. Doesn't have to be huge, just a couple of little shorties to give you some protection if any ogres from the top lane decide to throw, or then any ogres that come up from the bottom decide to throw. Now we're going to go ahead and head up top with a buff beam on to the gas trap and both of those auras. Important to make sure you get that in. How long this buff beam is doesn't matter. As you see, you can actually go 6 DU and cover both of those auras if you are not building the wisps on the other side. However, for the purposes of this video, we're just going to go with, say, let's go like 5 DU maybe. Yeah, let's go with like a 5 DU buff beam. That's going to keep it away from the stairs enough to where I don't have to worry about any melee mobs coming up. And then we're going to go with a root right here on the buff beam, making sure it is important to place it on your buff beam, as you are going to take some shots from Dark Elf warriors on that root. Now, afterwards, we are going to go ahead and go 3 wide on the wisps. And here is where it's time to kind of spam. We're going to spam it up, and we're going to use the remainder of our DU on wisps here. Now remember, wisps get a huge amount of value for upgrades, so depending on what your stat ranges are, you may want to consider throwing some of these starting upgrades directly into your Wisps just to give them a little bit more range to be able to get the job done. Once we get our Wisps out here, depending on the remainder of the DU, you will either have 3 or 4 left over, depending on how large you made your buff beams. In this situation, I have 3 left over, and we want to protect these Wisps from ogres as well. So with 3 DU, we are going to go just with a triangle here. Now, if you had 4 DU, of course, you could do the full square and be in a lovely shape as well. So we're going to go 1 DU, say like that. And then we'll go with 1 DU, say something like that. Now, a few things to keep an eye out for on this map. First off, the map is all about this lower lane. Every wave, this lane will get zerged with ogres, so you're going to want to make sure this is where you're DPSing at. Additionally, once you get a little bit of gear, you might find yourself tempted to just chillax up on top of your stack of Wisps here with maybe a monk and tower boost all of these Wisps. However, if you do that and an ogre spawns from up top there, remember the first ogre throw is going to be a Rifted Kobold. If you're standing here on top of your Wisps, that Kobold is actually going to explode right over the top of you here and blow up everything below. So if you do decide to chillax it out right here on your staff and just do the Boosty Boy build, by all means do it, but keep an eye out for ogres up on that lane. Now, as I mentioned, getting upgrades on the Wisps right up front is quite crucial to the Wisp's success. It just allows them to get just a massive, massive amount of range increase. No matter how high or low your range stat is, Wisps just gain a ton of value from upgrades. I'm going to go ahead and spam a few upgrades over here as well. We'll get an upgrade on the buff beam, and then let's get these Wisps squared away. Now that the build is complete, let's go ahead and bounce on forward to the bonus wave because, you know, let's be honest, it's all about the bonus wave. The challenge in bonus waves goes up considerably. So let's go ahead and jump right forward to that bonus wave. So we have the base run complete. Now it's time to move on to the bonus wave. This is a Lichen King bonus wave. Now, once you get bonus waves unlocked from killing the bosses on survival, you're always going to want to play a bonus wave. Besides the increased quality of loot and the increased difficulty, one of the other huge benefits is it's going to give you 2 sets of drops per run. You're going to get the regular Wave 25 completion stuff, and then you're going to get the bonus wave stuff. So, like if you're farming this map, you're looking for either primitive boots or minor helmets. You're going to get 2 sets of minor helmets and then 2 primitive boots off of just the 1 run. So gives you a little bit of a buffer from RNG. Now let's go ahead and get this bonus wave started. As I mentioned, this is the lane that matters right here. So we're going to get a big old ogre zerg on this lane, and we're going to want to make sure to burn it down. So I'm just going to sit here and fight on this lane. Now remember, you are going to get Rifted Kobolds thrown at you when these ogres come out, so you're going to want to move out of the way. Rifted Kobolds, when you've got multiple flying at you, is sure to wreck your face, so just don't get your face wrecked and move on out of the way. Now I'm just going to kind of do my best to DPS around the lane. If I could only aim with a controller, that would be glorious, but just going to do my best to assist right here on this lane and wait for the ogre zerg. Now once the ogres get here, then of course it's GG's. Once those ogres are dead, and here they come right now. Here comes the Rifted Kobolds being thrown. I've got plenty of time to get all my devices and everything off. In fact, I can get one more Inferno device off there. We're just going to let those Rifted Kobolds go by. And then, as you see, your ogres just drop. Now, I'm using the piercing weapon from the keep, so it's hitting all those ogres at once. In fact, this map is probably the map that makes that weapon really shine the most gloriously. Once those ogres are dead, you're kind of clear to do what you want. Kill sirens, kill whatever. There will be more ground ogres coming, however, that is the big zerg. So if you just keep an eye on your tactical map from there, you're going to be able to see what's coming out. See if any more ogres are coming your way. You know, obviously, any ogre that comes on the map, you're going to want to keep an eye out on. I'm just making sure to stand away from my defenses. That way Dark Elf Warriors and any potential kobolds being thrown at me are dealt with. You see we've got 2 ogres coming right here. We'll just go ahead and get some shots into them, and should be GG's. So looking quite nice. Anything else coming? Looks like that was the extent of it. We got that one ghosted ogre right there. However, just watching the rest of the tactical map and letting the map just kind of finish out. So, big ogre zerg down the stairs. It's this lane every single time. It never changes. So, it will always be right here for the big ogre zerg. Now, let's go ahead and check out our fat loots and see if we got anything good. There is those primitive boots that I was looking for. Sadly, poor stat rolls on that one. Fort power and range. We're really looking for, ideally, all 4 builder stats, but we would settle for power, range, and rate on this one. And then we've also got a bum passive on it, so no good on that piece. How about our Miner Helm here? That's actually a really good, usable starter Miner Helm piece. As I mentioned, I would normally want to have all 4 builder stats. However, it's got power, range, and rate, the big 3, and additionally has power and rate as passives. Now, it's really low rolls on those passives, so this would definitely be a starter piece. However, not a bad starter piece at all. And then, of course, the other benefit of running this map is the Fused Monkey King. A Fusion Monkey King is the highest single-target DPS pet in the game in its current state. So definitely a hot item. If you're playing actively on a Squire or on a Warden, you no doubt will want that pet. But that is going to do it for this episode. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see ya next time around. Take it easy.